Hi everybody, I want to talk a little bit about moving into our lives and back into the social structures that we had before we started COVID-19 and how that has really created a major shift in our perception of being in social structures and adapting to a new kind of life and what that means, how we want to integrate that and how we can make that the most positive and really intelligent way to moving into the life that we want to live, our best life. So, this has been a massive shift. It's been a really big change for everybody globally. We've all had to shelter in place. We've all had to social distance. And I'd like to think about it as sort of a resting space, a cocoon, a time for reflection and a time for deep reflection and pause. So during this pause, it's important to take a moment and just think what came up for you during this time. A lot of us felt so many deep emotions. We felt a lot of sadness. We felt a lot of fear. We felt a lot of anxiety. How are we going to cope? And over the months, we as humans are super resilient and we are really adaptable, and taking the time to really think about what came up for you and what was the most important part of what you were missing and what you were craving and how you want to move forward in the future. So knowing that this time of rest and reflection is a pause and that we will be coming out of this. Now, how do we want our lives to look? How do we want to be acting from our truest hearts? How do we want to create our potential and our relationships and our connections and our well-being? So the media is one part that I want to talk about because we are getting bombarded, and we have been getting bombarded with lots of fear, lots of messages, lots of mixed messages, and this doesn't do anything for our nervous system but keep it really out of balance. So one thing that's really important moving forward is really tuning into your body, really taking the time to ask yourself, what is it that I want to see in myself? What is it that I want to see in my relationships? What is it that I want to see in my workplace and my career? And what is it that I really value in all of these categories? So thinking about where we were before this happened, how our lives were, how our lives changed in this pause, what came up for you, and what you most want to see happen moving forward. Now, for me, I was able to really see the possibilities and use this as an opportunity. For example, being at home all the time, being able to work from home, it presented a massive opportunity of learning that was really challenging in the beginning, but now I see how so many of us can take what was a strenuous, no time to pause, no time to think, 9-to-5 job outside of the house, away from our families, to now being able to incorporate a lot of these styles of working right from our homes. Can we do that? Can we spend more time with our family? How are you able to connect with family members and friends in ways that you maybe had not made time for before? So moving forward, what are the relationships that really empowered you? What are the relationships that really made you feel safe? And how do you want to continue connecting with these people moving forward? The next part is our health and well-being. How were you able to dive into yourself and think, wow, I have not had time to just take intuitive moments of rest for myself. For me, I was dealing with some skin issues, an autoimmune disorder, that I finally had time to actually pinpoint some of the dietary things that I was eating or the vitamins that I was lacking and start implementing that because I just had the time and I had limited resources. And our healing starts from within. Our healing starts from when we are able to slow down and when we are able to really filter what is serving our body and what is distracting our body. So moving forward, how do we want to make sure that we are still acting from this intuitive place of rest and reflection as we move into going back out into the world and cultivating new relationships and integrating more things into our day-to-day life. And what is it that you were able to connect with in this time? Were you able to connect with some emotions that maybe you have been putting aside before this happened? Now, those emotions are really alive for us still, and they're really important to not just disregard and go mindlessly into a fast-paced life again, but really to take those emotions and think, how are those emotions still part of my body, and how do I want to nurture those parts so that I can live from my most integral, my most wise, my most pure and heart-filled space moving forward. These are the kind of tools that are going to create the world that we want to live in. And it's not by being distracted by the media. It's not by being distracted by what other people are telling you is important or how you should live your life. It is by listening to your inner voice and listening to that guide within yourself, taking a breath, and really tuning in and turning on that pilot light within your body, in your wisdom. So we can all do this in our daily practice, and that is just waking up, thinking about our intention, thinking about what is the most healthy thing for our bodies. Now, is that going outside and spending a full day in nature once a week? Is that making sure that you're making time to spend time with your lovers, with your friends, with your family, one day out of the week? Or making a phone call and actually talking to them for a dedicated hour every day or once a day? And what is it that you didn't make time for before that you want to make time for now? What project, what, hobby, what creative outlet were you able to discover or are interested to discover still? And how can you cultivate that further? Now, moving into life as it was, I think we all can agree that there's a lot that was not serving us individually or globally. And especially right now, we are going to see a lot of these bottled emotions because we've been stuck. We have been restricted. We've been restricted from our freedoms, and we now need to come from a place of intention and integrity and mindfulness moving forward. And there are going to be a lot of emotions that are not ours that we are going to have to be witness to. So staying in our center, staying grounded, and staying connected to what is healthy and best for our lives is the best way that we can move forward, while also maintaining a collective prayer, a collective consciousness that will be moving us forward in the right direction. By that, I mean being smart with the kind of influences that you allow into your life. So, what are the influences that have been nurturing you through this time? And making sure that you use those as your resources and not get swept away by the mass emotions that are going to be taking place. And this is only going to get worse. This is only going to get stronger and deeper. And so it is even more important that we stay in alignment with our center. I'm curious to know what your vision of the new normal looks like. I'm curious to know what tricks, what tools that you have learned and discovered during this time that have been really helpful. I invite you to comment to share if any of this was insightful and that you are feeling similar or have some other thoughts. This is a time for us really to come together as women, as community, and build our allies and build our trusted communities so that we have a place that we can lean back onto and that we can inspire each other to create and be the change that we want to see moving forward, and speak from that raw place of intuition and knowing. So thank you for watching, and I again invite you to check out the Pleasure Plus 12-week course is coming up all around self-fulfillment and immune resilience. What that means is, doing the work within our bodies to stay connected to our desire, our communication, longevity, health and wellness practices. And stay tuned for more tips and conversations about how we can stay in our bodies and connected and living our best, most powerful, pleasurable lives.